Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you the calendar is not just counting days, but counting destiny? What if I told you that beyond August 14, 2025, everything changes for the remnant, for the faithful, for the chosen, those who refuse to bow, bend, or break in a world that grows darker by the hour? A divine shift will occur after August 14th, 25, not because of a change in the calendar, because of a change in the spiritual atmosphere. This is not a prediction based on superstition or speculation, but a calling to discern the times. The days leading up to this moment are a refining fire, a proving ground for the faithful. God has been separating those who are merely religious from those who are truly devoted, those who seek the spotlight from those who seek his face. After this appointed time, the divide between these two will no longer be subtle. What was once hidden will be revealed. The compromise that once passed as Christianity will be exposed for what it is, and the faithfulness of the remnant will shine with unmistakable clarity. This shift is not about global headlines, political events, or natural disasters. Though those things may continue to escalate, the real shift is internal, spiritual, and irreversible. It's a turning point for those who have remained steadfast, those who have not bowed to the idols of the age, and those who have cultivated their relationship with God in secret. The divine shift is the moment where God says, "Now I will distinguish my people." It's the fulfillment of long seasons of waiting, obeying, and preparing. Those who have been hidden in obscurity will be brought into purpose. Those who have been overlooked will be raised up, not for their glory, but for his. What comes after August 14 is not just a new chapter, it is a divine assignment. The chosen will be called to act, to speak, to lead, to stand in places others fear to tread. The authority they carry will not come from titles or platforms, but from their private surrender to God, that they will not be moved by the chaos around them because they have already been anchored by truth within them. The world will look to influencers and politicians for answers, but God will place his mantle upon the humble, the pure, the broken vessels made whole by grace. In this divine shift, God is not elevating the loudest voice, but the most obedient heart. It is a time of alignment where those walking in step with the Spirit will find doors opening, favor increasing, and strategies being revealed. There will be divine appointments, supernatural provisions, and prophetic clarity for those who have kept their lamps burning. But this moment is not something to wait for passively. It is something to prepare for intentionally. Those who delay their obedience or hesitate in their devotion will find themselves misaligned when the shift occurs. There is a prophetic acceleration that will begin after this appointed date. What used to take years will take months, and what once seemed impossible will suddenly manifest. God will fast track his plans through the lives of the ready. The delay many have experienced has not been denial. It has been preparation for a moment such as this. The opposition, the isolation, the testing, it all had purpose, and that purpose will be revealed as the shift unfolds. The divine shift is also a call to awaken. To those who have been asleep, dulled by distraction and comfort, this is a final warning to return, to repent, to realign. Because after this threshold is crossed, the pace of events will quicken, and only those rooted in the secret place will endure what's coming and be used in what's unfolding. This is the hour of the chosen remnant, not the many, but the few, not the ones who blend in, but the ones who stand apart. In every generation, God raises a remnant, a people who refuse to bow to the idols of culture, who refuse to be silenced by fear, who will not compromise truth for comfort. The chosen remnant is not perfect, but they are refined. They are those who have been through the fire and have not let go of their faith. They have been refined by affliction, strengthened in the wilderness, and trained in hidden places. Now the time has come for them to step into the very reason they were preserved. The world celebrates the crowd, the popular, the visible, but heaven watches the remnant. The remnant doesn't seek applause, they seek alignment. They don't chase platforms, they pursue the presence. While others have been busy building their brand, the remnant has been building an altar. While many have entertained the world, the remnant has interceded for it. They have stayed awake when others slept, prayed when others scrolled, and stood when others bowed. And now, in the hour of shaking, God is revealing what he has been preparing in secret. This hour belongs to the remnant because they have been chosen for it, not because of charisma or credentials, but because of consecration. They said yes when it cost them everything. They obeyed when it made no sense. They held on to God when everything else was falling apart. This is their hour because they have been faithful with the little. And now God is about to entrust them with much. They are the answer to a culture in chaos. They are the light in increasing darkness, the voice crying out in the wilderness, the salt that still preserves a decaying world. The remnant is not defined by the size of a crowd, but by the size of their surrender. They may not have titles, but they carry authority. They may not have fame, but they carry fire. They may not be recognized by the world, but they are known in heaven and feared in hell. This hour will expose the difference between those who were simply religious and those who were truly remnant. Those who played church will be silenced. Those who were the church will be sent. This is a time of release for the remnant. Assignments that have been delayed are about to be released. Territories that have been under enemy occupation are about to be reclaimed. The voices of the remnant will rise, not to echo the noise of the world, but to proclaim the truth of God with boldness and clarity. Their prayers have paved the way. Their tears have watered the ground. Their obedience has aligned them for impact. In this hour, the remnant will not retreat. They will advance. They will not conform. They will transform. They will not be overwhelmed by the darkness. They will overwhelm it. They are not called to fit in. They are called to stand out. And this is the hour they were made for, the hour they were prepared for, the hour they were chosen for. Shaking is not a sign of God's absence. It's often the sign of his nearness. When the ground beneath us begins to tremble, when systems fail, when comfort collapses, when the world around us spirals into fear and chaos, it's not the end. It's the beginning of revelation. God uses shaking not to destroy his people, but to expose what is real, what is rooted, what is unshakable. It is not sent to annihilate the faithful, but to awaken them. Shaking breaks what is temporary so that what is eternal can be seen more clearly. It strips away the illusions, the distractions, the layers we've built to appear strong, and leaves only what truly stands. God has always allowed shaking to separate. In Scripture, he shook Mount Sinai to mark his holiness. He shook nations to fulfill his purposes. He shook temples to declare a shift in order. When God shakes, it's never random, it's surgical. It targets what man has built in pride and reveals what God has planted in secret. The shaking that is coming, or already underway, is not meant to wipe out the chosen, but to elevate them. It reveals the ones who have been grounded in truth, routed in his word, and anchored in his presence. When everything that can be shaken is shaken, only the things of God will remain standing. This shaking is revealing hearts, exposing motives, and uncovering hidden foundations. It is separating the genuine from the counterfeit, the committed from the comfortable, the pure from the polluted. In a world where appearances deceive and platforms are mistaken for purpose, shaking comes to test what lies beneath. It is heaven's way of saying, let what is real rise. Many who looked strong in the light are now being tested in the storm. Many who went unnoticed in peace are now standing tall in the chaos. That is what shaking does. It reverses what man esteems and honors what God has refined. Those who have built on sand will feel the collapse. But those who have built the rock on truth, on righteousness, on quiet obedience will remain stronger, clearer, bolder. The shaking may cause fear for those clinging to comfort, but it is a call to courage for those walking in faith. Every storm, every crisis, every breakdown is a chance for the chosen to shine. It is a stage for the remnant to emerge. God does not waste the shaking. He uses it to align his people, to cleanse his church, to reorder priorities. The shaking is also meant to awaken those who have drifted. It is mercy disguised as disruption. For those who have grown lukewarm or distracted, it is the voice of God calling them back to the altar. For those who have substituted religion for relationship, it is a divine invitation to return to the heart of worship. If there were no shaking, many would continue asleep, unaware of the danger of drifting from truth. In the midst of shaking, the faithful are not destroyed, they are revealed. Their roots go deep, their light shines brighter, their purpose becomes clearer. What the enemy meant for harm, God uses for purification. What was meant to scatter, God uses to gather. The shaking is not punishment, it's preparation. It's not the end. It's the unveiling of those who were made to endure, to lead, and to rise. There are moments in life when God opens doors that no man can shut. Opportunities, assignments, breakthroughs that are birthed from heaven and aligned perfectly in time. But these doors are not for the distracted, the complacent, or the unready. They are for the prepared. Only those who have been faithful in the hidden places, who have remained alert, who have stewarded their calling when no one was watching, will be ready to walk through the doors that are about to open. Preparation is not about being perfect, it's about being positioned. It's about cultivating the discipline to obey it in silence, in obscurity, in delay, so that when the divine moment comes, you're not scrambling to get ready, you already are. God does not waste his doors. He doesn't release destiny to those who are still entangled in compromise. The open door is not just a blessing, it's a test. It reveals who has oil in their lamps, who has kept the fire burning, who has been living with expectancy rather than entitlement. Many ask God for open doors, but few are willing to endure the process that qualifies them to enter. Preparation is not glamorous, it's often painful. It involves pruning, refining, and waiting. It requires saying no to what is easy so you can say yes to what is eternal. It means sacrificing convenience for consecration. The door that is coming is not for show, it's for purpose. It's not for those seeking platforms, but for those seeking presence. When God opens a door, it's because there's kingdom work on the other side of it. Those who have been preparing in the secret place, who have fought battles in prayer, who have been shaped by trials, will find that the door they've been praying for is now waiting for them. But they will also realize that what lies beyond the door requires more faith, more strength, and more obedience than what they've ever walked in before. That's why preparation matters. There's a generation that wants sudden elevation without the grind of obedience. They want influence without intimacy with God. But heaven's doors do not swing open to the uncommitted. God cannot release a higher assignment to someone who hasn't mastered the discipline of the season they're in. The door will not wait for your procrastination. It opens in God's timing, and those who are not ready will miss it. Not because they weren't called, but because they weren't prepared. This is the sobering reality. Opportunity can be wasted if obedience is delayed. To be prepared is to live with intentionality. It means sharpening your gifts, deepening your walk, aligning your life to truth. It means being ready even when nothing seems to be happening. Noah built an ark when there was no rain. David trained in fields before he ever held a crown. Joseph endured prison before he touched promotion. Every person God used to walk through a significant door was forged in seasons of unseen preparation. That season always feels long, but it's never wasted. It builds the foundation needed to carry the weight of what's coming. When the door swings open, it won't be time to start preparing. It will be time to move. And only the ones who have lived ready will have the strength and clarity to step through it. In the days ahead, a clear and unavoidable line will be drawn between those who follow Christ out of convenience and those who follow him out of deep, unwavering commitment. That line will not be subtle. It will cut straight through churches, families, communities, and even hearts. The time of blending in is coming to an end. The gray areas are disappearing, and the distinction between genuine discipleship and casual Christianity will become undeniable. God is calling his people to a higher standard, and that call will test motives, expose loyalties, and separate those who are willing to lay down everything from those who are only willing to follow when it's easy. A convenience serves God when it fits into the schedule, when it's popular, when there's something to gain. Commitment serves him regardless of cost, comfort, or applause. Convenience says, I'll show up when it's comfortable. Commitment says, even if I lose everything, I'm not turning back. The days of lukewarm faith are numbered. The kind of shallow faith that only shows up on Sundays, that compromises truth to avoid offense, that seeks blessing without surrender, it will not withstand the pressure that's coming. Pressure reveals foundation, and the days ahead will expose who built on rock and who built on sand. This divine separation is not to shame, but to awaken. God is not drawing the line to reject people, but to invite them into something deeper, something real. There is still time to cross over, to move from convenience into commitment, to stop living a half life and embrace the fullness of surrender. But the window is not unlimited. The longer a heart stays in compromise, the more numb it becomes to conviction. Commitment is not about feelings. It's about faithfulness. It's about showing up in prayer when you're tired, standing for truth when it's costly, middle of it, worshiping when you're weary and obeying when you don't understand. Those who have lived in convenience will soon find themselves unprepared for the weight of responsibility and resistance that's coming. The days ahead will require spiritual stamina, clarity, and boldness that only come from a life anchored in deep commitment. The world will grow more hostile to truth And the casual believer will find it harder to stand when the cost of standing increases. But those who have been walking closely with God, not just when it was easy, but especially when it was hard, will be equipped to carry the mantle of influence and authority. The line that's being drawn will also determine access. God is about to entrust new levels of revelation, influence, and responsibility, but not to everyone. He will pour out these things only on those who have proven faithful in the fire, those who have passed the test of delay, those who have remained obedient when no one else was watching. Heaven is looking for those who are fully in, not halfway committed or double-minded. The separation between convenience and commitment will not be based on appearance or words, but on fruit, the fruit of obedience, of endurance, of love for truth. That fruit doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in consecration, and those who have chosen that narrow path will be revealed when the line is drawn. The days of silent faith are coming to a close. The chosen will no longer remain hidden, passive, or restrained. In the days ahead, those who have been set apart, refined, and marked by God will rise. Not with empty noise, but with true power. This is not a power built on pride, ego, or platform, but a supernatural power rooted in intimacy with God, obedience to His word, and the authority of the Holy Spirit. For too long, the faithful have been quieted by culture, intimidated by opposition, and overlooked by systems that valued charisma over character. But now, the season is shifting. The chosen, those who have been faithful in the secret place, are being called to speak, to lead, to move, and to confront darkness with unshakable boldness. This power is not man-made. It cannot be taught in seminaries or borrowed from influencers. It is forged in the fire of surrender. The chosen have endured seasons of pain, rejection, delay, and isolation, not because they were disqualified, but because they were being prepared for something greater. And that preparation has produced spiritual weight. That weight will manifest as power, power to shift atmospheres, break chains, restore truth, and dismantle lies that have held people captive for generations. This power will not come with noise for noise's sake. It will come with authority, clarity, and purpose. In past seasons, many were told to stay silent, to not offend, to not stand out, to not stir the waters. But now, silence is no longer an option. The world is louder than ever in its rebellion against truth, and heaven is calling for a response. The chosen were never meant to blend in. They were meant to disrupt the status quo. They were never meant to be spectators. They were meant to be spiritual warriors. And that time has come. This isn't about arrogance or control. It's about walking in the fullness of the calling that has been burning inside them for years. The chosen will declare truth without fear. They will operate in gifts without apology. They will walk in love without compromise. They will no longer tiptoe around systems that have diluted the gospel or bowed to culture. Instead, they will carry a fire that convicts and a grace that restores. They won't speak because they want to be heard. They will speak because heaven is compelling them to do so. Their voices will be instruments of awakening. Their presence will carry divine disruption. Their obedience will release heaven's agenda on earth. This generation is desperate for real answers, for uncompromised truth, for a demonstration of God's power that goes beyond words. The chosen were born for this moment. While many chase platforms, the chosen have been preparing altars. While others seek comfort, the chosen have sought consecration. Now is the time for their preparation to meet purpose. They will walk through cities, pulpits, offices, and homes. Not to fit in, but to bring transformation. They will cast off the fear that once muted them and embrace the authority that God has placed within them. Their silence has ended, not because they now desire attention, but because the times demand action. The world may not be ready for them, but they have been made ready by God.